United Kilo, G7UUK, listening 156.
Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie Foxtrot.
Mike 0, Juliet something over.
Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie Foxtrot. Mark in Sidcup in Kent. QSL Mike, very nice to get you on 40 metres. Heard you calling CQ a few times, sorry, and I thought I won't leave you hanging in the wind. I'll give you a shout. Yeah, nice bit of short skip there. Western Supermare, what I know about that is the beach race, the motorcycle beach race since the 1980s. I don't know if it still runs, but I've never raced it, but a few of my mates have had a go, and it looks like hilarious fun. Done lots of motorcycle racing, but not at Western. Anyway, I'll give you a report on the next over, and I just thought I'd add that bit in, just show my knowledge of, at least I know the beach down that way. G7UUK, this is M0 JCF.
Okay, M0 JCF, G7UUK returning to you. Yeah, the beach race in Western Supermare, they normally hold it sort of September time. I do not know if they're doing it this year. They may be. A few things are happening in Western. We've got a great big oil rig, an ex-oil rig planted at the Tropicana, in the grounds of the Tropicana. They put these power drivers in and set it all up, then we brought the oil rig in, and it's looking pretty good. I drove past it today there, Mark, and it's got trees way up high in the sky, looking like we're getting all blown around with the wind that we get in Western. Yeah, your report is 59, and I'll give you a Q5. Lovely audience from you there, Mark. Over.
Yeah, roger that, Mike, and yeah, they'll float anything up the River Severn, won't they, and just plant it down wherever they like. Thanks for the 59. You're 5 and 9 plus 20. That's 5 and 9 plus 20. The rig I'm using today is an ICOM IC-740. It's from about 1981. I got it through a silent key sale through my club, the Cray Valley Radio Society, some months ago now, 3 or 4 months ago. So, you know, a sad way to acquire old radios, but you know, it's a lovely radio, and I've been using it just quite a lot just recently. The antenna's just a long wire, mate. It's just 90 feet long, about 23 feet thereabouts above the ground. And if I just check the power meter now, I think I'm running about 100 watts, or just under 100 watts. So that's the story this end. Give you some WX. Excuse me, I'm not sure what it's been like there over in the West Country, but here today in the southeast, it's been raining most of the day. It was raining overnight as well. I mean, it's not unwelcomed. I mean, without a doubt, it's not unwelcome. I mean, as you know, especially in the southeast, we've had months and, well, several months of dry weather. And you know, it was very welcome. My garden has livened up slightly now. It's going from a paler shade of brown to a mixture of brown and green, and we're expecting now another week of good sunny dry weather. Not such a bad thing. I'm working from home tomorrow, and then Saturday, Sunday and Monday, obviously it's a bank holiday Monday, I'm off, and then I'm off on Tuesday as well. So I've got a nice 4-day weekend to look forward to, and can do without it like teeming down. But that's the story there, Mike. Back to you. G7UUK M0 JCF.
Okay, from G7UUK. Yeah, that's quite amazing. Yeah, we've also had a bit of dry weather in the southwest, and it's been, you know, pretty odd, you know, but I like it because, like in winter time, what do we get? Rain, and it's, you know, it's good. We love the rain. No complaints about the rain. But yeah, my lawn has been pretty dry. MP, and I've only had it for about a week now. I had to go all the way to London to collect it. It was collection only, so I went all the way from Westwood, 194 miles per way, collected the radio, brought it home, and most impressed with it.
That'll be my daughter telling me she's going out.
And also transmit, I've had good reports on the transmit audio, but I've also noticed this radio, it seems to be, it's meant to be 100 watts, but when I'm checking it on my IntelliTuner, it looks like it's, if I give it a little go here, it's saying 155 watts, which I don't believe. It's only meant to be 100 watts, this radio, over.
Yeah, Roger on that. Well, first off, the audio sounds fine to me, but it's going to be subjective, isn't it? You know, I'm using a 40-year-old radio, so you know, but it sounds fine, mate. Your audio does sound good. As for the 155 watts, you know, if it was something like a hybrid radio, like I've got a few hybrids and valve radios, and they you know, they can run, especially if you run the plate current a little bit higher, you can obviously get a bit more power. Yeah, 155 when the book power. I'm almost a car salesman then. You know, the book power says 100 watts, and you're getting 155. Yeah. That sounds weird, but saying that, you know, if it's on an external meter, then, you know, I don't know. I don't really know the FT1000. It's not a radio that I've played with, so I really couldn't advise on that. But it does, if anything, it sounds maybe like I don't know what controls are on there. Maybe you got too much carrier, or you know, or something like that. You know, the ALC maybe is a little bit on the high side. I can't account for why you'd be getting like 50% more power, unless of course someone's been inside it. But even so, but I mean, a lot of radios, you know, they will put out more than the you know, than what the book says. If they're carefully tuned and into a nice resonant antenna. You need to check it into a dummy load, I suppose. That'd be the thing. Double check it with a good power meter into a dummy load, and you might find that you'll get, you know, a good reading of 100 watts. The only other thing as well is, you know, the difference between 100 and 150 watts at the receive end. You know, it's probably less than half an S point, so, you know, rather than damage the rig, I'd find a way of how you can back that off. But that's just my feelings on it. As I say, I'm not up on the radio, and say off the top of my head, the only things I can think of, you know, if you haven't got a power control, would be the ALC maybe a bit too high, so like you're overdriving it, or you know, the carrier power. I know that's more, you know, that's an older thing, and I know, you know, we can set the carrier power of AM, etc. But you know, sometimes, you know, if there's a carrier control and you can wind that up, it's the difference as well. The different manufacturers sometimes can you know, use different words for the same thing, you know. So some will have a power control, some will have a carrier control, some will just rely on SSB mic gain. But as I say, it doesn't sound like you're overdriving, it doesn't sound like you're hammering it. And I think I've waffled on enough there with my limited knowledge of that radio. So back to you, G7UUK M0 JCF.
JCF from G7UUK, yeah. Thank you for the information, yeah. Well, I'm checking, the power amplifier is an actual, or the linear amplifier part of the radio. It's a separate unit right on the top, on the left-hand side, with all these fins on it. And it's not getting very hot. I must say, it's not getting very hot, so I'm happy with that. you retract my bid because I've already got a radio now and I've bought it. And he said, don't worry about it. If you like no more bids come up and you know you know it comes up to the end, I won't hold you to it because you've asked me to retract the bid. I'll just relist it. And yeah, the guy got, I think it was £471 for it, with the one in Leamington Spa, so I was happy about that he got a deal for his radio. But yeah, I know, but maybe like you say, something's been done to the radio, it could have been done to it, you know, maybe it's had a little breakdown and they put better RF, you know, output transistors in it, and the bias and all that has been balanced up, and it does seem to be happy. I mean, I'm using the tuner that's built into the radio with a combination of the MFJ IntelliTuner I got, and I find it's a really good combination to make the radio happy, and the SWR at the moment there, Mark, is about 1.3, which is okay. Over.
Yeah, G7UUK M0 JCF. Okay, well, one thing that does strike me is you're using the internal tuner and an external tuner. That might be where you're getting your weird reading from. I personally wouldn't use two tuners. I would use one or the other, because what's happening is your internal tuner is trying to match your external tuner, and the external tuner is trying to match the antenna. So what you might be getting there is a false reading based on your transceiver is trying to match to the tuner, not the antenna. I could be wrong on that, but it doesn't ring true to me that you would use two tuners, because obviously only one tuner can match to the antenna. The other tuner is trying to match, like the internal tuner is trying to match your external tuner. Does that make sense there, Mike? Back to you, G7UUK M0 JCF.
Yes, Mark, it does. Yeah, that does sound about right. Yeah, well, I'll do. I know it does tune quite happily with the internal tuner when I'm on 7 megs, the 40 metre band. So I'll give it an experiment, you know, tomorrow and see the results I get. Because yes, you're quite right. Yeah, two tuners. You know, I make the MFJ IntelliTuner happy, and then I use the internal tuner to make that happy. And yeah, I've got a good, like a 1.3, 1.4 on the meter on the radio, and I'm getting about 1.3 on the IntelliTuner. It's a good tuner. It'll tune up to 300 watts, and I got it initially there, Mark, for the ST847. I had a package deal quite some time ago from Martin Lynch's. I got the IntelliTuner, the ST847 with the MD100 microphone and a power supply for about £1,296, so 1,300 quid. Had it for years, the old the ST847, and I like it. But when I'm listening to people on this ST1000, my goodness me, does everybody sound good? I mean, you've got a lovely bass, lovely audio to you there, Mark, eh, what?
Yeah, roger, mate. Well, thanks for that. And as I say, this is the IC-740. I say it's about 1981, but it's a mint condition radio. But the microphone is actually an aftermarket microphone. Now, they need a powered microphone, and so I wasn't going to buy ICOM. I mean, A, difficult to find anyway for an original mic of that age, and B, you know, they want silly money, and I'm a bit squeaky when it comes to that, Mike. I'm a little bit tight when it comes to opening the wallet. More moths come out of my wallet than pound notes, I tell you. But yeah, if you think about it, you know, the input of your IntelliTuner should be 50 ohms. So all your radio is trying to do is match, you know, the 50 ohms output of your radio to the 50 ohms input of the IntelliTuner. So, you know, it hasn't got to really do any work. It hasn't really, once it's set, it sees the tuner. It should never change. Even when you change bands, I don't believe the internal tuner will actually retune, because, you know, it's seeing 50 ohms. It's seeing the 50 ohms input of the IntelliTuner. Just off the top of my head, I'm trying to visualize it and picture it. So yeah, the experiment I would do is remove the IntelliTuner and just go straight to the antenna and see how your radio copes. And the other way is obviously to turn off the internal tuner, make it throughput, and just go then with the IntelliTuner and see how it copes. But, you know, me personally, I wouldn't use two tuners. I wouldn't use a tuner trying to match a tuner, which is then matching the antenna. That's my take on it. I mean, as I say, I'm a bit old-fashioned, Mike. You know, nearly all of my radios are old. Many of them are 1970s. Like, I use a TS-520S quite often. That's a late 70s hybrid. And I've got 4 or 5 valve radios from the 60s, you know, various summer camps and swans and stuff like that. And just the other day, well, it was actually a week ago, somebody gave me a couple of Ten-Tech Argosy 525s, you know, one of them not working, one of them was working. And what we did is we did a swap. I had a little bit of a kit. Funnily enough, one of the bits of kit was a kit auto tuner. So there you go, we're staying on subject. And yeah, he needed an auto tuner. I had a kit. I built several of them. I didn't need any more. So he had the auto tuner, and he just gave me these two lovely old radios from the 1970s. As I say, one of them not working, so that's a future project, and then the other one works just nice. And in fact, I was going to use it tonight, but I haven't used the Icon for a couple of weeks, so I thought I'd use that. I do have more modern gear. I've got an FT817, a TS590S, and just a few weeks ago I bought an IC-740, you know, the latest, what seems to be the latest workhorse of most new hams. But there you go, it's horses for courses. I like the homebrew as well. I've built a couple of transceivers now, and I quite often use them QRP. But anyway, and you know, in summary, yeah, I would the experiment I would do either tonight, tomorrow, is try individual tuner. So try the tuner from the radio. If it works well, totally do away with the external tuner. If you find it won't match your antenna, then you know, switch it off and use the external tuner, because you're fairly confident from what you're saying that the external tuner is matching the antenna. That's all I can suggest. As I say, I'm not an antenna man. I think most people that talk to me on the radio know that I'm not an antenna man. Hence, that's why I've got the long wire. I'm very lazy. My VHF antennas, etc., no problem. I've got a collinear for 270 FM, and I've got a 9-element LFA for 2 meters SSB. But as I say, when it comes to HF, I've had a long wire up ever since 1974, when I first started building crystal sets and shortwave listening, and I've always had a long wire. Every property I've either lived in or, you know, owned, as I do now, you know, I've always had a long wire up, and I'm just lazy when it comes to it. You know, I've got a couple of homemade dipoles and that, maybe, you know, 10 meters and 6 meters, that sort of thing. But generally for the lower bands, no, I've got a long wire. I've got a 9-to-1 unun, and I just go through various different tuners. You know, I've got a few tuners here, and I do it that way. That's the story this end, mate, and really that's all the advice I can give without me sort of waffling on and repeating myself, as I do quite often. G7UUK M0 JCF.
There's a break station there, Mark, and yeah, I've turned the internal tuner off of the radio, and I retuned while we were talking, and I've got now an actual 1.1, 1.2
Yeah, well, let's say that you power-wise, or receiving-wise, you've been a rock solid 5 and 9 plus 20, Mike, and you're still 5 and 9 plus 20, and absolutely no change in audio whatsoever. So from that point of view, not using the internal tuner, you know that your external tuner is working. As I say, you've got no change in signal strength to me, but then that's nothing to go on really, is it? Really you need to sort of do your experiments with a dummy load, I suppose, and maybe monitor on a nearby receiver, especially for audio. It's very difficult, very subjective audio, because obviously the 740 uses a bandpass filter or IF switch and IF shift, sorry. So I can sort of tweak my settings slightly. I mean, it is your frequency, but if you'd like me to bring in the brake station, that's absolutely no problem, hoping that you can hear me. So brake station, apologies for the long ramble. Over to you. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox in company with Golf 7 Uniform Kilo.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for the break. Anyway, the name is Paul. Call sign is Golf 6 November Mike Alpha, and I hope I can hear both of you 5-9 plus. And sorry, I didn't quite get down the call signs there, nor names, but there we go. So again, the name is Paul, Papa Alpha Uniform. Yeah, just thought I'd break in and just add to the conversation, if that's okay with you guys. Give us up.
Yeah, G6, NMA, M0, JCF in company with G7UUK. Yeah, Paul, absolutely no problems, mate. The more the merrier. I'm sure Mike, who was calling CQ when I answered him, and I say it's his frequency, but if he wants to start a net, I'm all for that. I'm, as you might have gathered, I've got a bit of a ratchet jaw. I'm a rag chewer rather than a 5 and 973 type of person. But yeah, my name's Mark. I'm in Sidcup in Kent, Paul, and Mike is over Western Supermare in that direction. So it's just for me and him. It's obviously nice high angle skip. I'm using a long wire, which is 90 feet long and about only about 25, maybe a bit less feet above the ground. So it's a superb Envis antenna on 40, 60, 80 and top band. It's great for short skip and medium skip. Not so good for DX on the lower bands. I have worked Brazil on it on 40 meters, and the USA, but they've been rarities for me. I tend to find 40 meters and below, it's great Envis. 20 meters and above, I do get the DX on it, but it sort of lacks slightly at the top. So sort of 10 meters, it's not as good as I used to have a 5/8 wave vertical. So anyway, look, you can tell that I'm rambling on there, Paul. Your signal report, mate, 5 and 9 plus 15. I was watching intently, and it was peaking 5 and 9 plus 15, so not quite nudging the 30. So I'm just wondering where you are, Paul, and then if you'd like to go back to Mike. G6 November Mike Alpha. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox in company.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much indeed. This is Golf 6 November Mike Alpha returning to the group. Yeah, I'm actually based in Leamington Spa, believe it or not, and I heard the town come up when you said big. In reference to that radio, because I was actually looking at that one as well, and I obviously living in Leamington Spa as well, it would have been made it really easy to go and pick it up. He was only 2 mile away from me, so there you go. But I did fancy that radio as well. And just a comment, Mick, on the all last over. I did notice that the signal actually went up at my end here. So you went from about a 5.9 plus 10 to a 5.9 plus 15, 20. And it was really good. The audio's been spot on all the way through, Mick, as well. So the radio's doing what it's doing. But I was going to just chip in and ask you whether you've actually put a vector analyzer across the antenna at all, if you've got one. Because my experience on the antenna, I was actually using it's a Trio 530S here, so it's a hybrid. So I heard you talking about that, Mark. And I'm using a half-wave 40 meter here, with a 49 to 1 balance, all home-built stuff and everything, and recapped all the Trio as well. So moment. So, apologies, haven't got your call sign, Mick, but if you'd like to take it, G6NMA.
Yeah, G6MNA, yeah, the call is Golf 7 United Kilo, Western Supermare, using the ST1000MP that I only just got, and I had to go all the way to Canvey Island to buy it, and all noted was the one that you say in Leamington Spa. Yeah, I loved it. I think it went for about £470, didn't it, in the end, which was quite nice. I think it went for 471, and yeah, you know all the rest, saying about can you retract my bid please, because I've already got one. I love this radio. I do like the receive audio on it. People sound so much nicer on this than they do on the 847 that I've got. That is why I like using this one more. And I'll have a look now. Now I'm just using the IntelliTuner. I'll just give a whistle just to see. You're still saying 174 watts. That is not normal. So the radio must be doing about 174 watts. Not my fault. This is what it must be doing. Over to you, Mark. M0JCF, G7UUK.
G0LOL.
G0LOL, very good evening. LOL, that's very appropriate in this day and age, isn't it? There's a lot more acronyms that we could use, or little internet-based letters that we could use. But LOL's a good one. I like his style. So yeah, I'll come back to you on Mike, but I don't think 174 watts. I don't know. I really don't know the radio well enough to say anything. But let's go round to G0LOL. This is M0JCF, marking Sidcup, southeast of England, in company with Mike, who is his frequency actually, G7UUK, and Paul, G6NMA. So over to you, G0LOL. This is M0JCF in company.
Yes, okay, guys. Yeah, thanks for picking me up there. I have been listening to you for some time with this mysterious 1000 MP that Mike's got. By the way, Mike, it sounds very nice. It does sound nice. And I could be a million miles wrong, Mike, but I thought the MP was a 200 watt radio. I've never had one, but I've always understood it was a 200 watt radio. A rule of thumb to check it, Mike. You know your input voltage, you know your input current. If you multiply them out and divide by 2, that will give you a very rough idea of the actual output power. You know, your input power is normally about double your output power. So let's say you were putting 14 volts in and producing 20 amps input. That would be 280 watts. 50% of that's obviously 140. Now that's, your radio uses other bits, so
did 200 watts. I am
name is Chris, by the way, Chris. And the location is Doncaster, South Yorkshire. And everyone's a good son of York. Very nearly 20 over 9, like, and everybody else is good loud singers. Yeah, I say I've never had the thousands, but it could wait, you know, it could be wrong. Probably am wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things, Mike. But yeah, it sounds absolutely fine. It sounds absolutely fine. Anyway, I'm not going to hog it. I'll stay with you for 10 minutes if you don't mind. And, you know, pass it round a bit, see what they've got to say, Mike. G7UUK, G0, LOL.
Okay, G0UUK, up in Doncaster. Very good there, Chris. G6NMA hasn't had a little chat for a minute, so Paul, would you like to go ahead and talk to whoever you want?
Fine, G6NMA to the group, and very good evening to you, Chris, up north there. And yeah, I just had a quick look on the net actually, to be honest, the internet, and it is the 100-watt version if it's got the closed fins on it on the radio. If it's the open fin type, that's the 200 watts. Because I must admit, I just thought that, Chris, myself as well, whether it was the 200 range rig that was there. Although somebody may have modified it, you never know. So really, I'm sort of finding it, just going on my experience here, which is using the Trio, I can run up to 20 metres, and the SWR is a lot lower in 20 metres than it is on 40 on mine, and hence my reflective power obviously gets out better. And on my SWR meter then, or power meter, it runs up to a good nearly 200 watts, but that's obviously not true because this radio will not put out 200 watts. So I'm just wondering, this is what I said earlier, whether you've actually got maybe that mismatch of the SWR could be causing the issue. It's something I was going to trust in mind to bring it back down on 40 and tune the antenna to 40, the end fed. But worth a go, maybe worth a go. Anyway, I'll throw it round to Mark, M0JCF and the group.
Yeah, M0JCF in company with G6LOL, G0LOL, Chris Doncaster. What we got? G6NMA, that's you, Paul, in Leamington Spa, and of course Mike, whose frequency is G7UUK over there in oh bloody, do you know what, we've just been talking about it, haven't we? Western Supermare, there you go, we were just talking about the motorcycle racing there. Yeah, as I said, I haven't got the internet in front of me. I've got two shacks, one in the loft, one in the garage, and I'm in the garage one, and I haven't wired this for internet or anything, and I've got no laptop or anything here. So I actually thought that, do you know what, I wonder if we should Google it and just find out from RigPix or Universal Radio or something, and it'll tell us what the power is. And you know, yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, like if it's the MP, the MP's the later one, isn't it? As I say, not really up on them. So I think one of you mentioned as well the TS530 SE, not the radio that I've got. Mine's the 520S, and I have got a 520 SE, which needs restoration. So the 520S I use quite often. I love it. I love these old analog radios, you know. They've got no digital displays, you know, they've got no bells and whistles or anything, but they work so well. And as I say, it depends how much life you want to get out of a pair of valves. But, you know, you can run them up to about 160, 170 watts. But, you know, I mean, they're not going to be happy, you know, at those levels. And that's by having the IP current, you know, your plate current just set a little bit too high. I mean, I've run them up to sort of 280 milliamps before now, and seen, you know, the power meter or the external power meter go wild. But, you know, A, it's not good for the radio, and B, it probably isn't good for harmonics and stuff like that. So, you know, I think as an experiment, and you should always do your experiments into a dummy load, but, you know, the experiment, you know, just to see, if you want to see, you know, I suppose it's like tuning the engine of a car. You know, you can double your horsepower maybe, but you're going to half the life of the car, and that's how it works with these radios. So yeah, yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. As I say, it could be not strange at all. It could be that he's got a 200 watt radio, and if it's only putting out 174 watts, then he's got a problem in the other direction. Where's his 24 or 25 watts going? You know, it's it's something that it needs. It needs a little bit of research to see what radio he's got, and that might just answer the question. B, I don't know about the IntelliTuner. I've got an MFJ VersaTuner 2 that I'm using right at this moment, you know, and I've got a few homebrew auto tuners and stuff like that, and I take a little bit of pinch of salt what the external meter reading's doing, and as for the panel meter, you know, on an older radio, well, it is what it is, you know. I just give it a rough rule of thumb, you know, if the radio's meant to be a 100 watt radio and I'm seeing 100 watts on the external meter, I pretty much sort of take it to my mind. That's what I tell people that, you know, it's doing. Of course, by the time it gets to the antenna, and it's quite a long run of coax I've got, and then a 9-to-1 unun, so we've got 3 dB loss. Well, actually at the antenna I probably only got 50 watts, and then just being that it's a long wire antenna, just a random wire antenna as well, not really resonant at anything at that length, I don't think. I'm probably not even radiating you know, maybe 25-30 watts, I don't know. Really, as I think it was one of you said, you know, use a vector analyzer at the feed point, you know, that'd give you a better idea. But as I think I said, I don't know who was listening, but you know, I am a very, very lazy antenna man. I mean, antennas are just not something that interests me. It's a bit weird because obviously the antenna is probably one of the most important parts of your system, especially if you know you want to get every microwatt sort of radiating outwards rather than sitting there just warming everything up in the transmission line and that, and the back end of your radio, you know, with all the reflected power. So you know, as I say, it's actually quite counterintuitive that, you know, I'm a full licensed ham, I've been into radio for the best part of 50 years, yeah, I've got no interest in the antenna side of things. But then the other side of the coin is I'm one of the dying breed of home brewers. You know, I build my own transmitters, I build a lot of receivers, that sort of thing. So you know, I think, you know, the hobby is so fascinating and massive that, you know, I mean, you know, there's so many facets of it that, you know, we could go on forever dismissing other people's interests, etc. I mean, I remember when I started, I only got my M6 back in 2017, winter 2017, but I will caveat that with I did fail the RAE in 1978 when I was a teenager. I was 15, something like that, and I failed it and never came back to it until, as I say, around about 2015, 16, and I got a renewed interest, and here I am with an M0. But yeah, that's my ramble on. I think we'll hand it round to Chris, and I think the direction, I mean, I know this is Mike's frequency, it's Mike's net really, but if we go from me and then in the direction it goes Chris G0LOL, then it goes to Paul G6NMA, and then Paul hands it back to Mike G7UUK. We keep it going in that direction, nobody gets left out. And I think also, if I'm handing it round to you now, Chris, if we give it a slight pause just in case there's a break station. I haven't heard anyone try to call in between us, but you never know. So over to you, Chris. G0 Lima Oscar Lima, this is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot in the group.
Right, Mike, you've got a break station there, and also short to me, Mike.
Yeah, 2E0 Golf Yankee Whiskey.
Yeah, 2 Echo 0 Golf Yankee Whiskey. Good evening, the name here is Thomas. I'm in Bradford, West Yorkshire.
Yeah, up in West Yorkshire, 2-0 Golf Echo Whiskey, is that right?
It's 2 Echo 0 Golf Yankee Whiskey, over.
Yeah, okay.
I can hear him okay. I think you said your name was Thomas. Good evening, Thomas. Yeah, I'm not going to be around much longer. I will have to QSY to another mode in a few minutes. Measuring power, it's not as easy as, or not as straightforward as, what people first imagine. And I didn't really realise that while I bought an amplifier. So I've got an Icon 1000. By the way, I'm running an Icon 7600, 100 watts at the moment, but I have got an amplifier. And my antenna is rather unusual. It's an off-centre fed doublet, a bit like a Wyndham, but fed with 450 ladder line. And that goes into a tuner, which is a T-Match tuner. It's a commercial tuner, Lamco, with a 4-to-1 Ballon built in it. But the thing is, the difference between PEP and average. Now, the meter on my ATU, my matching unit, reads average. The amplifier will read PEP. So, if I want to run 400 watts, the meter on the ATU reads about 180, 190, because that's reading average. The amplifier's telling me PEP. So that's for 400. And I'm always curious when people say I'm running, what shall we say, I'm not getting at anybody, but when you say I'm running 10 watts or 50 watts or even 400 watts, I'm always curious what that wattage is. Is it PEP or is it average? Because does it make a difference? Okay, with Mike's permission, I'm going to jigger off now, Mike. So, thank you for bringing me in. It's been quite interesting listening to everybody. It's a funny old hobby, amateur radio. But there you go. So I'm going to put it back to you, Mike. You're in the chair, mate. And I'll say 73s to all on frequency. Once again, thanks very much for picking me up. G7UUK, G0LOL. Now going elsewhere. Back to you, Mike.
Okay, G7UUK, G0LOL. That's really good. Laugh out loud. That's a lovely call phone there, Chris. So, yeah, you are a nice note there. Thank you for coming back, and I will do the tests. I will do the test tomorrow. I've got like a dummy load I can probably load up for a few seconds. It's only one of those little tiddly things, but if I just transmit momentarily with the SRR meter into it, I'm sure it'll work out fine for a few seconds just to see. So yeah, thank you there, Chris, up in Doncaster. You have a good night, and thank you for coming in, and I'll pass it round to everybody else. It's going to be a free-for-all to say 7 please to you. G7UUK.
Yeah, G0LOL, M0JCF. Okay there, Chris. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for the chat. Really enjoyed it. Just so you know, I can switch mine between average and PEP, and I'm transmitting 100 watts PEP. So that's my story. Round to you, 2E0GYW. Thomas, you're 5 and 9 plus to me, mate, but I'll have a chat with you in a second, if I may, if you just want to hang on. But round to you there, Paul. G6NMA M0JCF in the group.
G6NMA return to the group, and with G7UUK M0JCF and the other station, which unfortunately I haven't got the call sign for yet, but there we go. Anyway, I'm going to bail out in a second or two. I'll listen to another couple of rounds, and then I'll be away. I'm going to go and do a couple of bits and pieces. Yeah, and here, actually, I am running around about, we've got PEP and wattage, or average. I say average 50, PEP is probably 100 on the at the moment. So, God, it does get confusing sometimes when you start to look at all this. But as soon certainly say, Mike, that your audio and everything is absolutely brilliant still. And congratulations on getting the radio as well, which, yeah, I think is really good. I think you'll find that there is, and I may be wrong, but I think you can actually turn the power down. And I wonder if it's worth just trying to turn the power down a bit and see what happens. It may even be something that's just been overdriven. I think you mentioned that earlier, Mark, actually, that it might just be overdriven. And talking of the valve side of things and running the milliamps, I'm running at 80 milliamps, and then it peaks at, hang on a minute, let's flick it over. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 80 milliamp, and then going up to just over 110 milliamps, or thereabouts anyway. So that's what's happening here, Mark, at my end with the Trio 530S. So, yeah, this radio, by the way, I've just recapped it all and everything, and sorted quite a few bits and pieces out with some bits and pieces that were loose at the front, but all in all, absolutely brilliant radio, and just got back into the game again with the ham radio. And I like playing with the antennas, by the way, Mark. That's why I was just asking about SWR, etc., and things like that. Anyway, I won't hold it too long. I'll pass this back round to... I'm going to put it back to yourself, Mike, actually. So this is Golf, down to G7UUK from G6NMA in the group.
Yeah, G6MNA, G7UUK. Thank you for that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly seeing what the radio is putting out. The radio is not catching fire, and while the amplifier part is, or the linear amp part of the radio, it's not hot on top. But I am using FSB, so it's not a constant transmission. It says on full power on 100 watts, do not transmit for more than 3 minutes at a time, and give it the radio a rest. So yeah, on SSB it's all safe there. So yeah, I'm amazed. And yeah, if anybody thinks that you can't have a general chit chat on the amateur radio band, I'm going to have to tell my friend his call is M6AIX. I'm going to give him a text later and say, when you get your vertical antenna, I think it covers 40 metres up to 10 metres. It's a vertical he's getting, and he's getting the fiberglass version, so it lasts longer. And also, he's getting the version where it handles kilowatts of power, because he says something about if it's handling anything of higher power, it does degrade rather quickly. So he's getting the best antenna he can. So I'll be giving him some good text later to tell him that he's going to have a lot of fun, and he can have a bit of a chin bag on the amateur radio bands on 40 metres. So thank you guys. And oh yeah, the antenna I'm using, I've said it right, it's a G5RV half size with FlexiWeave antenna wire on it.
Yeah, was you handing round to me then, Mike?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've got a G5RV full size. It's just in my garage, all coiled up. I went to put it up one day and realised the length of it was too long for the when I was going to put it up. So it's a future project. Yeah, your mate, an M6. He'll have fantastic fun on 40 metres. One of my homebrew transceivers is only 4 watts, and I work most of Europe on it, especially when I'm calling CQ. So it's absolutely no problems. The power ain't going to make any difference. Well, yeah, it does make a difference, but you can work with low power QRP. I say I very often work QRP, so that is not a hindrance at all, especially on 40 metres. Especially with the antenna that he's using, it is what it is, and it's great for inter G 40 metres, absolutely brilliant. Right, we don't want to leave him out, because I'll tell you what, he's probably gone, but 2 Echo 0 Golf Yankee Whiskey, Thomas, this is M0 JCF in a group. Yeah, okay, Thomas. 2E0 GYW M0 JCF in the group. Yeah, okay, the 706 Mark II. I'll tell you what, they're starting to fetch some really good prices now, Thomas. They're a very, very popular radio. I don't know if they were that popular back in the day, a little bit before my time. But you know, I've seen them going for like 400 quid plus. You know, they seem to be very, very well sought after radios, and my recommendation seems to be, if you see one, get it. You know, just get it and just use it, obviously. And what I tend to do, I tend to buy radios, use them for 6 months, and then sell them on, so I can say that I've had one, I've used it. Those that I've still got at the moment are those that I want to keep. As I say, a lot of my old valve radios, they're in for restoration. Like I've got a Swan 350, Swan 400, and a pair of summer camp radios, and they all need work of varying degrees. So I'm looking forward to them. Kodar AT5 as well. I've been restoring that for nearly 5 years. That's quite incredible, that. But yeah, your signal to me there, Thomas. 2E0 GYW, 5 and 9, just over the 5 and 9, 5 and 9 plus 5 maybe, and it's sounding okay. Your audio to me is a little bit trebly, it's a little bit high, but that might be the radio, might be the microphone, but signal wise no problem whatsoever. As we was discussing earlier, probably before you were listening, that you know, the receive audio is quite subjective, isn't it? Because we're all using quite different radios from different eras, and you know, it's always difficult to sort of say to someone, you know, your radio sounds bassy, trebly, sounds brilliant, sounds rubbish, because it might be the receive audio, you know, for your particular, those two radios, that might be the problem. So apart from that, I think you said you was in Doncaster, Thomas, so you must have been quite near to Chris G0LOL, and he said he could hear you. But I was wondering if we'll pass it round now to Paul G6NMA to give you a call and give you a report there, Thomas. So G6NMA, if you'd like to give Paul 2E0 GYW, I don't think you had his call sign last time round. That's his call sign. If you'd like to give him a report and maybe swap a few words, and then he can hand it round to Mike, whose frequency it is, but I seem to have hogged it all. So over to you there, Paul. G6NMA M0 JCF in the group.
2E0 Yankee, Golf Yankee Whiskey Thomas, Golf 6 November Mike Alpha calling. 2E0 Golf Yankee Whiskey, yeah, I'll be sending you over. Yeah, no problem at all. You're fairly quiet with me, about at 5 and 5 and 6, 5, 7, but just about there. Got a little bit of QRM coming in, but nothing problems. I can hear everybody, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, as I say, I've got to mail out with the gentlemen. I do appreciate the QSO we've had tonight. It's been really, really interesting. And Mike, all good luck with sorting out your over high wattage machine at your end. Have fun with that. If you want, I am around tomorrow actually, if you want to do any QSO, just in case there's anything you want to check. As I say, we've had quite a good QSO tonight, and yeah, I'll be around if you need to. Just drop us an email off QRZ if you want. Yeah, so thanks guys. I heard everybody, by the way, so that was good, and really good to have a good chat about the antennas and obviously the new radio there with yourself. So thanks to everybody. I'll let them follow around, and I'll pass it over to G7UUK from G6NMA and the listeners within the next room.
Frequencies in use, please. G7UUK M0 JCF. You're 100 watts, you're bang on 5 and 9 plus 20. There was really not a lot of difference between your 100 and your 170. But then if you think about it, you're dropping nearly 3 dB, so you're only dropping half an S point, if that. You know, and this is the crazy thing, you know, with the power mad people, you know, they forget that, you know, to give someone, if you've got 100 watts and you're giving someone 5 and 9, to knock it up 1 S point, you know, they've got to go to 400 watts. You know, they've got to double it and double it again. You know, so, you know, it doesn't make, I mean, I'm not going to say it's wrong to do it, but you know, if a lot of Europeans and USA stations didn't run 1 kilowatt, 1.5 kilowatts into a high gain antenna and having an ERP of multiple kilowatts, you know, 6-7 kilowatts, then you know, we wouldn't get so much QR Mexico, would we? And everyone would be happier. But then, you know, you're preaching to the converted. You know, it's you know, just one of those things. You're never gonna like convert people's mindsets, as it were. You know, they just see it, you know, I've got 100 watts now, I've got 400 watts, therefore I'm a powerhouse. Well, you're not really. You know, you've gone up an S point. Was it really worth it? Was it worth the electricity bill? You can see I'm turning into a miserable old man now, and I tend to do that. I see the sun has set now, and I imagine the D layer starting to collapse, the skip's going longer, and the Europeans are getting louder and louder. And I did call out the frequencies in use. I think 1 or 2 people have possibly started CQing, or they're having a conversation, and because the skip's gone longer, we're now receiving them, and they're probably receiving us. So there'll be a bun fight there, won't there, over who's been sitting on the frequency the longest. We have been sitting here an hour, just over an hour. I have actually recorded this QSO. I do have a YouTube channel. It's called M0JCF Ham Radio. It started off, I was just using YouTube as a storage place for my videos, but I started getting subscribers, which was a bit crazy. I wasn't looking for them. I'm not looking to monetize it or anything, but you know, it's become relatively popular. I wouldn't say brilliantly popular. I mean, who wants to hear me talking, you know, in a video? Boring. But you know, if you want to go and listen to yourself, I'll probably put this video up this evening. It will take a time to upload, but I'll put this video up this evening and you can all hear yourself. So if you want to put in your logbook there, M0JCF Ham Radio, that will be the YouTube channel where you can all hear yourself, and that's including those that's disappeared. Well, on that note, Mike, I'm actually going to go QRT, I think. As I say, I've been rabbiting on for over an hour, and it was nice to be in town with all of you. But yeah, I am going to go now. So I'll say good night and 73 to everyone. So that's you, Mike, G7UUK, Thomas, 2E0GYW, and Paul, if you're still listening, G6NMA. I think Chris, G0 LOL's already gone. But yeah, I'll let you, obviously, Mike, it's your frequency, and I'll let you carry on with your net, especially if Thomas is staying on. I know Paul said that he was actually going to go wayward as well. But you can tell what a ratchet you're on, because it's taken me 5 minutes just to say goodbye. So I'm going to hand it back to you, Mike, and let go of the microphone. I'll listen for, you know, anything, just in case anyone wants to pass comment or ask a question. But I'll try not to pick up the microphone again. Otherwise, I'll have to do this all over again. Back to you then, Mike. Golf 7, Uniform Kilo. This is Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Mark, southeast of England, Sidcup in Kent, saying very good evening. Over to you, Mike.
Okay, M0JCF, Mark in Sidcup in Kent. I'll say 73 to you. Thank you very much for the radio reports and tests. G6NMA, Paul, 73 to you. And then we'll go for 20GYW, Thomas, 73 to you, and G0LOL, Chris. I'll say for the chat. Been a pleasure. You've got to put the mouthwash in if you want to go, then you go gargle a bit.
Now we're back. Delta, Delta 3, Delta Tango. Anybody on the frequency? Anybody else? I think the frequency is clear. Delta, Delta 3, Delta Tango.
That's clear.